Okay. So, I love to start with a breath. So, first, just double check your body that you're aligned properly because it's really so easy to be out of alignment and be leaning in one way. So, make sure that you're sitting tall as if there's a string from your head pulling you up in a straight line. And I think we'll start with one of my favorite breaths, which is a mood booster, and it helps with insomnia, with anxiety, with thyroid, sinus. It soothes the body and the mind, and it's really good for hypertension. It's called bee breathing. So, as you can imagine, it's humming like a bee on the exhale. So, basically, you inhale. Well, first, this is an interesting one because what you're supposed to do is it's your hands are not resting on your knees. You take your thumb and you hold the cartilage of your ear closed, and your two fingers, your index and your middle finger, hold your eyelids closed. So you're almost closing off your senses. So do that. I'm not going to do it because I want to be able to. I have the things in my ears too, but so I'm just going to place fingers over my eyes. You breathe in a very deep breath, all the way expand the belly. And when you exhale, you make a humming sound like a bee. So this is what it would sound like. Did you hear that?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
doing.
Okay, good. So let's take 3 of those breaths. So deep inhale, exhale like a bee. Again, inhale, exhale.
It's so crazy that it really sounds like a bee.
Yeah, inhale again and exhale. And release and open your eyes. So it really is supposed to be soothing. And I have to tell you, when I was just doing it, it sounded soothing to me. It just like calms the whole system down. It's funny, as you practice breath work, I tend to be a noisy breather. Yesterday I walked through a store and I caught myself like audibly breathing. I mean, but
But
it's really good for you. All right, let's take our hands overhead. Let your palms kiss. If the shoulders are up, so I know Cheryl, like watch your
yes,
shoulders. If
yes.
keep them wide, keep your arms wide if you have to. And this is where we're going to stretch out our spine and just get really tall, which is the movement every time you inhale in yoga, you want to get tall. So this is the first one. And exhale, let the arms come down. Inhale, reach, get tall. Breathe in, exhale, let the arms come down. And we'll do that one more time. Inhale, hands overhead. Your neck is on straight, your gaze is straight ahead as your spine is just lifted, and we get like a half an inch taller. And let your arms come down on the exhale. Take your palms and touch the floor in front of you, and very gently bending at the hip crease. So this is a forward bend, and we're just moving the spine in the 7 directions to say hello, good morning. We're going to be using you today. Just lean forward. With every inhale, see if you can make your back a little bit longer, and the exhale, you relax a little bit more. And you might be feeling it somewhere. You might be feeling it in the lower back. You're just saying, hello, I'm moving you around. And come back up. Place your hands behind you, and we lean back with a back bend. And you want to be leading, although the back is very straight, you want to be leading with the shoulders, not with the lower back. And your neck stays on straight with the rest of the spine. So it's one long line, shoulders are back. And then come back straight. Hand is on the floor next to you on the right. Your right hand on the floor. And inhale before we even raise the arm. And as you inhale, get tall and long. Exhale, let your arm come up. Inhale, lean to the right. And make sure your chest is wide so that you're not collapsing over that front right knee, but you're just really doing a side stretch. And every time you inhale, see if you can get a little taller and straighter, and then not straighter, but like longer. And as you exhale, see if you can lean a little bit more to the right. It's a nice side stretch. So last night I had a health coaching group, and we always do a little bit of grounding work, I think I told you. And I am putting together the group, Cheryl, for the
Oh,
fall.
good.
So place the left hand on the floor, and we did a whole lot of like being present in the body. This is reminding me of it. And lean to the left with the same intention. So the chest is wide. Every time you inhale, you see if you can grow that torso, make it a little bit longer, and then with each exhale, you allow yourself to go a little bit deeper into the stretch. And come back to center. First, just get realigned, and then take your right hand, place it behind you, smack in the middle of, your tailbone, like in that area behind you, but on the floor. Take your left hand, place it over the right knee. First, inhale and get long and tall, and then exhale and see if you can twist so that you're looking over the right shoulder. And with each inhale again, see if you can get a little taller, and don't pay attention so much to the twist, but just to getting strong and tall. And then as you exhale, you go a little deeper into the twist. And then cross your hands over the front body, realigning for a second, and then place the left hand behind you in the same spot. Inhale and get long and tall. Exhale, go a little deeper into the twist. Looking over the left shoulder. Inhaling tall and long. Exhaling, looking over the shoulder. Come back to center. You know what? I forgot to put up a clock because I just want to pay attention to timing. So I have a clock here on my computer, which I'm just putting there. Okay, great. Okay. So that was the 7 movements. So when I talk about grounding, what we did last night is we rubbed our palms together. You can rub your palms together right now and you feel your palms. You just feel the heat in your body. It's like getting into your body. So you can't be thinking about your head and then pressing your palms together. So then press your palms together with your arms, a lot of tension, and you can almost feel all the work that's happening in your arms. Anyway, we did a lot of that all through the body. It was great.
Mhm.
Okay, remove the block and let's come on to hands and knees to table. And we won't spend a lot of time. We won't twist the wrists all the way, but I love, because we're on the computers and phones, just give yourself some circles around the wrists here. And take the right hand up to the sky and then slide it through, allowing that right shoulder to come down on the floor and your temple area of your cheek onto the floor. It's threading the needle. And bring that back up and just do the other side. So the left arm comes up and then slides right through as your cheek comes down to the floor. And come to all fours. Allow the belly to sink towards the mat. Your chin comes up for cow and you're inhaling. And as you exhale, your belly button reaches towards the spine. You tilt the pelvis, chin goes down to chest for cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. And do a few of those. Just go back and forth slowly. Take your right leg, bring it back behind you, raise it up hip height, flex the foot, take the left hand and bring it out in front of you. Your neck is long, your gaze is at the floor. This is a balance pose. It's also great core work. It's bird dog. Hold it up. Bring your knee and elbow together for crunch, and then come back to bird dog. Allow your hand to come under the shoulder, back to the floor, and your leg to come down and meet the other one. So you're on hands and knees. Bring the left foot back behind you, raise it hip height, flex the foot. Right arm comes in front of you. Again, knee to elbow for crunch, and then bring it back out. The gaze is to the floor so your neck isn't strained. Bring the hand to the floor and the knee back. Tuck the toes under and lift the knees off, just like an inch off. Great for your core. And then raise the hips to the sky for down dog. Press your belly towards the spine, so it's reaching the back. Your hips are headed towards the sky, and your chest is pressing towards your knees. Arms are straight, fingers are wide. The thumb is not as wide. You don't want to spread the thumb out too much. Bring it like a ½ inch to an inch in from the widest you could go with it. You want to protect that thumb joint. And then walk your feet to your hands, and you're in a forward bend. It's our first forward bend, so really deeply bend the knees, allowing the chest to rest on the legs. Hang here. Allow the head to say, shake the head yes, shake the head no, let it, make sure it's relaxed. And then see if you can straighten a little bit your legs. It's still the first forward bend, so your hamstrings are going to be very tight. And gently roll up, allowing the shoulders to go back. You okay?
Yes, good.
Okay, good. Let's start with a sun salutation A. So find your Tadasana. So spread your toes wide. Find the center of all 4 parts of the foot. Hands are down by your sides, palms stretched outwards in front of you, and let the hands, as you inhale, come up and kiss each other. Look up at your hands and take your shoulders. So you want to bring them down away from the ears, but you want to take them back for a slight back bend. You're going to exhale and allow the hands to come down, bending at the hip crease and back into a forward bend. Allow the knees to bend. Relax the head. Inhale, slide the hands up the shins. Take the shoulders back for a flat back. Exhale, come back down to a forward bend. Place your hands on the outside of each of the feet, and with an exhale, step back, left foot first, then right, and be in a plank. You can let your knees drop if you need to. Don't let your hips sink toward the floor. You're better off like lifting your hips 2 inches from where you think. And then when you're ready, lean forward a little bit so that your hands are now down by your rib cage as you come down into a push-up. And you could be on your knees if you'd like, and do that from there. Uncurl the feet, elbows close to the body, and lift up just a little bit for our first cobra, which is a back bend. Curl the toes under, lift your hips to the sky, down dog. So I was doing a little reading about sun salutations. There's 11 poses right now in each sun salutation, and it really works out the whole body. Walk your feet to the hands. You're back in a forward bend. Inhale, slide your hands up, take the shoulders back, flat back. Exhale, come back down. Inhale, hands to the sky for reverse swan dive. Again with a slight back bend from the shoulders back. So the upper back leans back. And exhale, hands down to Tadasana. So honestly, my personal practice is doing 10 sun salutations, A's and B's. And that just keeps you strong and limber.
That's a lot. 10, isn't it?
It's really not that much. I mean, here we're going to be working out for 45 minutes. It takes me 20 minutes.
Oh.
So let's just do another one.
Okay.
You inhale, hands, palms kiss, shoulders down, but then lean back into a little back bend. Exhale, reverse swan dive, come down, or swan dive, that's not reverse. Forward bend. See if your knees could be a little straighter than before. They never have to be completely straight, but the more you warm up, the straighter that they'll be. Relax the head, shake it yes, shake it no. Inhale, slide your hands up your shins, flat back. Take the shoulders back. Exhale, come back down, hands on either side of the feet. This time, take the right foot back first, then the left. Plank. Lean forward on your toes as if someone's taking your head and pulling you just a couple inches so that your hands are now not under the shoulders, but near the rib cage, and come down with bent elbows. You're bringing your elbows close to the body, and this time we're going to raise up a little further for cobra, back bend. Your thighs and your knees are still on the floor. Your feet are flat on the floor so that you're on the tops of your feet. Curl the toes under, lift the hips to the sky for down dog. In down dog, see if you can lift those hips a little bit higher, sink the chest towards the legs a little bit, straighten the arms. Take deep breaths. And then walk the feet to the hands, forward bend. Inhale, come halfway, bring the shoulders back with flat back. Exhale, take your hands down your legs, forward bend. And as you inhale, do a reverse swan dive, hands up, flat back, not flat back, you want to back bend. And exhale, hands to Tadasana. So that was just 2 sun salutation A's. We're going to do a B, which is a little bit more poses, and I'm going to actually make it like a B plus so that we get a little bit of extra shoulder stuff for you in there. How are your shoulders feeling? You're good?
Pretty good. I even said to Rachel, Anita says to open your chest when you're walking, when
Right.
you're moving. Just think about opening your chest.
Right. You don't have to think about the shoulders if you think about keeping your chest open.
Right.
And they say psychologically, that when you see a kid, right, and they're round shouldered, it's almost like their confidence, they say that you don't have confidence. So you want to open the chest, be this confident person as you walk around the world, right? Okay. So this time, Tadasana, and we're not going to be doing just your hands up with a back bend. We're going to take those hands, raise them up. And for you, we're going to not touch the palms. We're going to keep our hands in like in a victory V sign. Sink your hips down as if you're in a chair, but you want to be able to see your toes over your knees. You don't want to be like, pressed your knees beyond your toes. So you want to see your toes, but you want to sink your tush down into a chair. And this is rooting and rising. So you're rooting your hips into a chair, your feet into the floor, and your torso is rising. So you're spreading your body apart. Breathe here, you're holding it. This is great for your legs. And then on the next exhale, straighten the legs, take the hips to the sky, and let your torso come down onto the legs for forward bend. Forward bend almost feels like a release after chair. Deep breath, and on the exhale, come up, hands up the shins, flat back, shoulders back. Exhale, come back down, hands on either side of the feet. Take the left foot back, then the right for plank, and we do a little vinyasa. So you can drop to the knees and do it. Otherwise, you're in plank. You come into push-up. This time, we're going to lift ourselves up to the front of our feet and our hands. So we're only on 4 points. Your hips are off the floor, your thighs are off the floor, your knees. You're looking up at the sky. We're in up dog, which is the opposite of down dog. So in down dog, our hips and we're bent in a V. This time we're like back bending and we're lifting. Curl the toes under, hips to the sky for down dog. Now take your right leg and lift it to the sky, and then bring it through so it's on the inside of the right hand. If you need to help it, just help it over there. Before we rise, take the back foot, turn it so it's at a 45-degree angle, and come up, hands up to the sky for warrior one. Here's where I'm going to add some things. Normally we'd go back down and do the other side, but here I'm going to have you take your arms into goddess so that those shoulders come down your back, bending that front leg. You feel the difference in the shoulders when you do goddess arms?
Yes.
Then take your arms and clasp them. Yeah, goddess arms are amazing for shoulders. So then take your arms, clasp them behind you. Let the clasp come down so you feel the shoulder blades dropping. And then bend at the hip crease to the inside of the front leg, raising the clasp for humble warrior. Come back up. Hands come back, so you're back in warrior one. And then hands on either side, down on over the front foot. Take that front foot back to meet the back foot. Push up. So lean forward, come down. Uncurl the feet so they're on the fronts of the feet, and come back up to up dog. Looking up at the sky, beautiful back bend. Curl the toes under, down dog. We have to do the other side. So all I added there was humble warrior and a couple of shoulder stretches. Lift the left leg to the sky. Bring it forward so that it's at the inside of the left wrist. Curl, turn the back foot so it's at 45 degrees, which is for stability, and that's the posture, and come up into warrior one. Bending that front leg. Your torso is facing over the knee. Take your hands into goddess arms, your arms into goddess arms. Feel those shoulder blades reaching for each other. And then clasp the hands behind you. Shoulders come down the back. Come down, bend into the front leg, the inside of the front leg. Clasp comes up. Breathe here. And then unclasp, rise, let your hands come up. Your front leg is still bent, back to warrior one. Hands on either side of that front foot. Allow the left leg to come back and meet the right. Push up, plank, then push up. Did you hear that grunt? Up dog. Curl the toes under, let the hips come to the sky for down dog. And walk your feet to your hands. Hang in forward bend. Make sure your head is relaxed. Shake it yes, shake it no. And if you think about it, your legs are probably a lot straighter now than they were in that first forward bend. You can hold your elbows here to relax. The next inhale, slide your hands up your legs, come halfway, take the shoulders back for a flat back. Exhale, come back down. Inhale, rise with a reverse swan dive, but sink your hips back into chair. Make sure you can see your toes over your knees. Rise with your upper body, sink with your lower, rooting and rising. And then straighten the body. Look up at your hands. Exhale, bring your arms down, Tadasana. So my personal practice is doing 10 sun salutations, 3 Bs that we just did, and 7 As. And that works out your entire body.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I feel like mine is worked out.
It stretches every single part of your body. And just even doing the Vinyasa, the Chaturanga with the push-up is so great for your arms.
Yes.
Okay, let's flow a little bit. So come to the top of the mat. Let's take the right leg back Toes are all pointed front to the front of the mat in the same direction. So you're in what's called a high lunge or a crescent lunge. Take your arms back to cactus, because I love doing that with you. Straighten
Do
the
you
front
lift
leg.
your back?
Do I
Do you
what?
lift the
No, your
back,
feet are,
the right
well, if
flat?
your foot is flat,
I'm okay.
if you can't reach the heel down to the floor, it's okay. The toes are still pointed in that direction, but we're going to
Yeah.
straighten the front leg, which should allow you to reach that heel a little bit further down if you haven't. And then we're going to bend at the hip crease. So if you can't find your hip crease, put your, like karate chop your, where your thighs meet your hips, so that you know you're not bending at the waist and you bend at that hip crease. And then lean over that front leg. You can use blocks if you have to on either side for pyramid. This is like a big stretch. Then bend the front leg just to get into a lunge down here, and then come back to pyramid. This is a really great hamstring stretch. Bend the front leg again to release it, and then come back to pyramid. Rise back up, bending that front leg. Take the back foot, turn it 45 degrees. Now you can get that heel to the ground. And actually, you want to press into the pinky toe side of the foot. So your torso is in the middle. We're not leaning forward, as I was just doing. Your front leg is bent. Your torso is facing the front. Arms are up for warrior one. Now here's where we're going to try something. Take your arms, bring them to prayer. Press them together. You're going to use your back foot to propel forward. You can actually hop if you'd like, or you can just propel forward and come, see if you can get into a balance pose here. Now, the trick for staying in a balance pose, and again, if you fall down, it's fine, but as we age, we really do need to practice balancing. So this is warrior three. Now, here's a trick that a yoga teacher taught me, because I had such a hard time doing this. Come up against a wall and place that back foot. I don't have a wall here, but if I have a bookcase. So if I place that, I'm going to tip it over. If you place that back foot up against a wall, it gives you, so the trick is, if you can do it against a wall, to then imagine the wall when you come into it. So I actually always picture that there's a wall behind me when I now come and do it. So bring that leg back down, and this time place it so that the toes are pointed 90 degree angle from the front for a warrior 2 feet. So you're, how do I describe this? Okay, the back foot, the toes are facing the side of the mat. The front foot, the toes are facing forward. Your front knee is bent. If the 2 feet came together, the heel and the arch would be together. Your arms are up at either side. Your gaze is over those front fingers for warrior 2. Allow the back arm to come down the back leg as your left arm comes overhead. Again, an open chest. So you don't want to be collapsing. You really want to just like say hi to the world. My heart is open for peaceful warrior. So if you think about where the shape of the body is right now as we're here, when we first started on the ground and we were seated and we did all those stretches and we did a side stretch, this is the same torso movement, which is why it's so important to warm up. So we're in peaceful, then allow that front arm to come, the forearm to come down onto your thigh. And you're going to, again, open the chest before you take the arm up so that your torso is wide, and allow that right hand to come overhead. So there's one long line between your tips of your fingers and the pinky toe side of that grounded back foot for side angle. Come back up into warrior 2, straighten the front leg as if somebody's pulling your fingers to the front of the room, tip down into triangle. And your gaze is up at your fingers. Remember to keep that chest open. Come back up, hands on hips, turn both toes to the side of the mat, heel toe them together, and come down into a yogi squat. So the reason I love yogi squat so much, and I think it's so important for women over 50, is honestly, it's about getting up and down off a toilet. If you've ever seen an elderly person, they have a very hard time. This is also the perfect position, as a health coach, this is the position for going to the bathroom that allows your digestive system to eliminate. So if you don't have one yet, Cheryl, I suggest squatty potty.
What is that?
It's like a stool that you place on the bottom of the, and you can lift your legs into a squat, which allows your body to release easier.
Okay.
Very good to have in your house. And it puts you in this position. Okay, hands could come down, take the hips up to the sky, allow the feet so that they're facing, the heels and the toes are facing the same direction. Come into a forward bend here. And rise. Let's do the other side. So come back to the top of the mat. I'll see if I can do this sideways for you, front ways. So we're going to take our left foot back into high lunge. So your toes are all facing the same direction. Front leg is bent. Hands come up into cactus. Your pelvic bones are both facing forward. Hands come up into cactus. Bring them down. So bend at the hip crease. You might want a karate chop right there where the thighs meet the hips. Straighten the front leg and come into a runner stretch or pyramid. Bend the front leg and release. And then straighten the leg again for a little bit more of a stretch. You're reaching that back heel to the ground. It probably is not hitting the ground. Bend it so you can release it and then bring it back straight again. Bend the leg, turn the back foot so that it's at a 45-degree angle, and we come up into warrior one. So your body with warrior one, as you turn that back foot 45 degrees, your hip bone, your pelvic bone is probably trying to turn towards the toes. You want to keep it so that both pelvic bones are still facing forward. Press into the pinky toe side of that back foot. Front leg is bent, arms are up. Hello. Now we're going to take our hands into prayer. Press them together and hop that back foot so that you can come into warrior three. Again, remembering like if you can reach the back wall or flex that back foot and imagine a wall, it definitely helps you with balance. Come up, allow the back foot to be turned so that it's at, so your feet are at 90 degrees and you are, I feel like I need to do it this way so you can see better. So one foot is facing, the back foot is facing the side of the mat, front foot is facing the front of the mat, front leg is bent so that the knee is over the ankle. Your torso is in the middle, hands are up on either side, your gaze is over your front fingers for warrior two. Let the back hand slide down the leg, front arm comes overhead. Peaceful warrior. Make sure your chest is open so that it's really a side stretch. And then allow that front arm to lie on the front thigh. Back arm comes overhead with an open chest. Side angle. And then come back to warrior two. Straighten the front leg, lean forward as if somebody's pulling you, and tip over into triangle, imagining a wall behind you or that you're between two panes of glass. Come back up. This time, hands on hips, turn the feet so that they're at the side of the mat. And this time, we're not going to go into Yogi Squat. What we're going to do is, if you have a block handy, put it on the highest level in front of you. Karate chop so that you know where you're bending at the hip crease. Place your right hand down on that block. Take it before you even move. First of all, make sure that your knees are over your ankles and your hips are over your knees. That hand should be under your face. And you want to first inhale and, as always, lengthen and get strong. So we're going to lengthen the spine. And you're going to first turn so that the shoulders are stacked, which you probably won't get to, but you want to stack the shoulders so they're one on top of the other as you lift the hand up. If it hurts to get that hand up, you can hold on to your waist. But it's just a choice. As my AirPod fell out of my ear. Okay. And then come back to center. Take a moment to realign with your hands on your hips, and then place the left hand down on that block. Again, the hand is under your face. You inhale, allow that shoulder to come so that one shoulder is on top of the other, and the hand comes up to the sky. Your gaze is at that upper hand. A lot of twisting today.
Yeah.
And bring it down.
This is very.
Yeah, it's good for you to twist. It's giving your inner organs a little massage. Okay, come back and slowly allow your spine to rise so that you're coming up to a full stand. Come back to the top of the mat. We're just going to do a quick pigeon. So swan dive your hands up, touch the palms, exhale, let the palms come back down, place your hands, and we'll just step right into down dog. Take your right knee, well, your right leg first up into the sky, and then bring your right knee to your left, to your right wrist for pigeon. Slide the back leg down so that your hips are reaching towards the mat, but they're even. If they're not even, or if it's bothering you because one hip is high, you can place a block or the tip of a block on that hip, but we're supposed to try to be sinking that hip to the ground. You also don't want to you want those hips to be even. You don't want to be falling to one side or the other. And in this case, you'd be falling towards the right. See if you can bend that back leg just to see what that feels like for the quad. Let it come back down, and then see if you can come down to your forearms and maybe even make a little tent with your hands to come over that front leg and allow that hip stretch. We're taking 3 breaths and come back up. Hands on either side of that front knee. Take the back toes, curl them under, lift your hips to the sky for down dog. Allow the right leg to come back and meet the left. Get even, pedal the feet, lift the hips to the sky, and then take the left leg and bring it up and bring the left knee to the left wrist for pigeon on this side. Slide the right leg back a little bit. Make sure your hips are even. Make a little tent with your hands. And come into pigeon. You can bend that. Oh, well, we forgot to bend the leg. We'll bend the leg when we come back up. Three breaths here. Come up onto your hands. Let's take that back leg and just bend it so you can feel that stretch in the quad. Allow the foot to come down, curl the toes, lift the hips to the sky for down dog. Allow the 2 legs to get even. So pedal the feet a little bit, and then walk the feet to the hands. And gently, vertebrae by vertebrae, roll yourself up to standing. I know we did balance before on Warrior 3, but I just want to take us to a quick tree. So spread your toes wide, all 4 points of the foot into the mat. Get solid in your feet. Make sure your body's aligned, shoulders are over your hips, rib cage, everything's stacked properly. And then shift your weight into your left leg. Come up to the ball of the foot on the right, turn it to the inside of the left leg. Make sure you're not jutting your hip out, your left hip to balance. You want to try to remain tall and strong and even as you slide that leg up, the right leg up the left, the inside of the left for tree. Hands could be in prayer. They could be out. Let your branches wave. Goddess arms if you want to practice getting those shoulders down the back. If you can lift the leg even higher, the place you just don't want to be is on the inside of the knee. Otherwise, the inside of the calf is fine, the inside of the ankle. If you have to come down, just smile and come back up. Another thing that's really important to do as we get older is balance. So that way, if you feel like at any point you're falling, hopefully you'll have good balance and be able to come down. Place the right leg down to meet the left. Just check in with your body and feel the difference in the two legs right now. Ground both feet into the floor and shift the weight into the right foot without jutting the hip out. Come up to the ball of the foot of the left, turn the leg so that the knee is to the side, and then come up the leg to wherever you can do it on this side. And it will be different because I can do this side all the way up on the thigh, but I can't do it on the other. Hands in prayer, or let your branches wave, or goddess arms, or even clasp. And if your foot comes down, we just smile and come back up. There's no competition or, it's just, we all do the best we can. We keep trying. And bring the feet down to meet each other. And let's come down onto our seats. So we'll just do Bodakanasana for a second. I don't like using Sanskrit words, but some of them are like ingrained in my brain. So it's bound angle pose. You take the soles of your feet and bring it together. Your hands come to the outside of the toes. It's clasped. You're using your elbows to push the shins down. And you lean forward just a little bit. And you could feel that stretch in your hips, in your thighs. It's a nice opening. Trying to keep the torso long and tall. I know that we're bending, so it's a little hard. And then straighten the legs out in front of you. Take the left sole of the foot, bring it to the inside of the right calf so that your knee comes down and your foot is flexed out in front of you. We're going to take that right forearm on the inside of the right leg, place it down next to the right leg. Take the shoulder, the left shoulder. So before we take the arm overhead, you want to open the chest, stack the shoulders one on top of the other. So we're again in like a side stretch here. The right side is compressed, the left side is wide open. Let the arm come overhead, so over your ear, reaching for the top of the toes. You're never going to reach them. But there's the stretch, and this is great for the lower back. And come up. Get even, so you want to face your foot. And then switch legs. You can sometimes feel it. I just heard my back crack, but it was a good kind of crack.
Yeah.
So the left leg is out in front, foot is flexed. The right leg is down. I don't know if your knee goes down to the floor.
Yeah, it goes down, but I can't stretch like you. Wow.
You know what? I'm not saying I'm so good, trust me. So your left arm comes, the forearm comes and plants down inside the left leg. You're first, take your shoulders and twist them so that the right shoulder is over on top of the left. So you're twisting first, and then you're going to lift your arm. If the arm has a hard time lifting overhead, it is okay to almost bind it. You can see behind me right now. I'm taking that arm and almost coming to the inside of my waist like a bind as I lean down into that stretch, which is fine too. Sometimes people have a hard time in the shoulders, can't rotate all the way up.
Right.
And come back up to center, uncurl, legs out in front of you. And let's come down to a reclined position. Feet flat on the floor, knees are bent. Come into bridge pose, so we lift our hips to the sky. Take your hands, clasp them under you, let the shoulders come down the body. Keep raising the hips so they're high. We didn't put a block between our legs, but you can almost picture squeezing a block in your thighs as we do this. And then allow yourself to unclasp. Take the feet to the outside of the edges of the mat. Your hands come out into a T. Your gaze is going to be over the left hand, like to the wrist, to your fingers of the left hand, as you let your legs drop to the right and take your right foot and place it over the left knee, so that you're using your right foot to press the left knee down to get a deeper stretch there. Uncurl them, let your legs come back up, feet flat on the edges of the mat. Turn first your head to face your right fingers. Allow your knees to drop to the left, using the ankle and the foot of your left leg to press the right knee down to the ground. A deep breath. You can almost feel the whole body stretch down the right side, outside of the leg. Knees come back up to the sky. Make the hips, you might want to lift the hips to get them straight and let the legs come up into the air. Circle the ankles around. Press the knees, hold the knees and press them into the chest. Take your feet to the sky, your legs are bent. Grab the outside edges of your feet with your hands and take those knees and press them into the underarm area of your body. So your knees are in your underarms for happy baby. Just picture this. If we were upside down, if you were pressed into the ceiling, you'd be in a yogi squat. And you could go side to side, giving your lower back a little bit of a massage for happy baby. It's my favorite pose, I think, one of my favorites. And then let your legs go up to the sky and let them lower to the ground. Stretch out, allow your legs to just relax, allow your feet to flop to their own sides. Let your arms come down on either side of the mat, palms are up. If you want to close your eyes for Savasana. While in Savasana, you may want to just scan your body. Take the time, start with your feet, and work your way up, looking for tension, where you're grabbing, where you're tight, and send an exhale and some relaxation into any part of that body. You might feel it, especially where your hips are meeting the mat on the ground and your back. Cheryl, for you, your shoulders might be feeling it. So just send some relaxation into your body. When you're ready, you can start by wiggling your toes and wiggling your fingers. Let your arms come overhead. Let your legs get long and do a deep body stretch, a whole body stretch. And then take yourself over to your right side, using your left hand to bring yourself up into a seated position. Namaste.